Hello, welcome to Prajim Technologies. I am Venkat. This is part 13, Loops in C Sharp. In this session, we'll talk about while loop. In C Sharp, there are four different types of loops: while loop, do while loop, for each loop. In a later session, we'll talk about the other loops. In this session, we will talk about while loop. So, let's look at an example. Now, I want you to write a C-sharp program using while loop which will ask the user to enter his target number. Let's say, for example, if the user enters 10, then your program should print even numbers until 10, just like this. Okay, so let's write our program. Let's copy that. So we want to ask the user to enter his target number. So console.writeLine. So prompt the user to enter his target. And then once the user enters his target, we need to read that from the console. So console.readLine. So we read the number that's entered by the user, and we need a variable to store that. So let's create a variable user target equals that. But console.readLine reads the number as a string format from the console. So we need to convert that into integer, and to do that we can use the parse method. So int.parse. So now we have the user's target. Now we need to start printing even numbers from 0 until the target. So we need a variable, to start at 0. So let's create an integer variable called start and initialize that to 0. Now while start is less than or equal to user target, what we need to do, we need to print start, and then we need to increment start by 2. So what's happening here? So this is the beginning of the while loop. Okay, while, and then we have a boolean expression here. While start at the moment is 0. While start is less than or equal to user target. If the user has entered 10, 0 is less than or equal to 10. So this boolean expression will be evaluated to true, and the control gets into the block here. It prints out the start at the moment is 0, so it prints out 0, and then it increments the value of start by 2, and then comes to check the expression once again. Is 2 less than or equal to 10? That's true. Prints 2, increments it to by 2, start becomes 4. So this process is repeated until this expression is evaluated to false. So let's imagine what's going to happen when the value of start is 10. Now when is 10 less than or equal to 10? That's true. Comes here, prints 10, increment the start variable by another 2. So start becomes 12. Is 12 less than or equal to 10? That condition is false. So it skips this block, comes here and terminates the program. So let's see this program in action. So when I press Ctrl F5 to run this program, please enter your target. Let's say 10, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Press any key to continue. The program terminates. Now let's say what's going to happen if I forget to have this condition there. If you don't have that line there, the start will always be 0, and if the user has entered 10, 0 will always be less than or equal to 10, and this condition will never become true, because of which the control will never come out of this while loop. So we will create a never-ending loop. Let me quickly run this program, but before I run that, let me open the task manager so I can show you the processor. Okay, the processor usage currently is at 70%. Okay, but let's go ahead and run this program. Please enter your target. Okay, now let's say I enter my target as 10. Look at this, it's printing 0, 0, 0, 0, and look at the processor usage. It's just going up and up and up. That's basically because our program has got into a never-ending loop. This program is never going to end because start will always be 0 and 0 will always be less than or equal to 10, and this condition will always be true, so it continues to print that never endingly. Okay, so now the moment I close this program, the processor usage will fall down automatically. So remember, that's very important to update the variable that participates in the Boolean expression so that it makes the condition false at some point of time, and the loop will ultimately end. Otherwise, we risk creating never-ending loops. And if you look at the output that I want the output to be present in the same line. But if you look at our program, it prints even number on every even number on a new line. For example, if I say 10, oh, let's run this once again by pressing Ctrl F5. If I enter 10, it prints each even number on a new line. I want all the even numbers on the same line. And to do that, we can say console.write, but we'll have a small problem here which we will correct. 10, look at this, all even numbers are concatenated together. I want a space between each even number. In that case, just append a space here. Now if I go ahead and run this, enter your target, so each even number has a space between them. Alright, so we have seen how to use a while loop and print even numbers. In our next session, we'll actually talk about do while loop. Okay, but let's review while loop. While loop, as we know, it checks the condition fast, and if that condition is true, statements within the loop are executed. This process continues as long as the Boolean condition evaluates to true. The moment it becomes false, it skips the blocks and go to the next statement after the while loop. And very important, keep in mind to update the variable that participates in the condition so that the loop can end at some point. So in the next session, we'll talk about do while loop, and then we'll find out the differences between while and do while loop. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.